Greetings and bienvenue, midnight crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Anyone who served in the military have some frightening stories? Like overseas, after combat, or miscellaneous so long as it's military related.
I don't know how scary this is. I mean, it's true, in as much as I'm not lying or anything. But, does it really mean that much? I don't know. A few years ago, 2008, I was stationed at Udeid Air Base in Qatar. My usual off-duty routine was to go up to the bra, a giant double canopy with a bunch of tables and benches under it, called the bra because of how it looked. Play Fate on my laptop for a few hours, shoot the shit with some friends of mine, then go to bed around 10 or so. Well, on this night, they had set up a boxing ring in the bra and were having what amounted to an anyone can fight tournament. It was pretty loud, and had attracted a huge crowd. So, I decided to find a quieter place to sit. I headed toward the chapel, since they had a lounge and I figured that would be a quiet place. The chapel was situated along a perimeter road. On the far side was a tall fence topped with barbed wire and a huge berm, essentially a wall of dirt. I saw a bright light on the other side of the fence, cresting the top of the berm. My first thought was headlights, but who would be driving around in the middle of the desert? I started to walk up the berm so I could see over the top of the fence. I realized I might be in a little trouble for climbing around on the berm. There was a nearby guard tower, but when I looked up there was nobody in it. The towers were in a series along the perimeter, about 250 meters apart. I didn't see any activity in any of the nearby towers, so I ran up the berm. I figured if anyone said anything, I'd say some of my papers blew up there or something. When I created the top of the berm, the light was brilliant, almost painful to look into. I couldn't make out anything for probably a click on either side. My job was supervising passenger unloading, loading and processing on the flight line. I'd been doing that for around 6 years when this happened, and I'd been on flight lines around the world working with all different aircraft. I've never seen any kind of operation with lights like this, even on temporary landing strips. I realized that even if I couldn't see whoever or whatever was out there, they might be able to see me. So, I ran back down the berm. I was probably up there for about 2 minutes. I went in the chapel and there were a couple of people emailing and chatting. I started to say something, or ask one of them to come back outside with me and see it, too. But, I chickened out. I didn't want to be the UFO guy. I sure as hell didn't want to spend any quality time with OSI Office of Special Investigations. So, I made it look like I was looking for somebody who wasn't there and I left. I kept my ear open for anyone talking about seeing something unusual, but it seems I was the only one. So, here are my questions. 1. What the hell did I see? 2. Why were the guard towers unmanned that night? I went back 2 nights later. I pretended I was jogging, and every tower had at least 2 personnel assigned. 3. Was the whole boxing tournament thing designed to pull the maximum number of people to the bra, in order to keep people away from the perimeter road? Normally, it's a popular spot for exercise, and the darker corners attract couples looking for privacy. 4. Finally, a long shot, was anyone else at a UAB that night who might have seen it? I've thought about posting this to forums, but I'm not sure I really want to attract too much attention, or come off like some kind of cook. Nothing like this has ever happened to me before, or since. I stayed in the Air Force another 4 years after this, and separated without incident.
Me, 2001, stationed at Shaw AFB outside Sumter, South Carolina. EOD Explosive Ordnance Disposal Technician, out at Poinsett Range clearing known UXO unexploded ordnance. We had a Schutex and a pair of Mk-82 general-purpose bombs, 500-pounders, failed to detonate. Go out with team, set up cameras to record disposal, set charges and spool out. Watching the detonation area, technical sergeant starts the count, blast area clear, blast area clear. Fire in the hole, fire in the hole. Look up. See dude in the zone wearing all green, not battle dress uniforms, fatigue-looking greens, yell. Technical sergeant looks up, sees him but has already fired, det cord zips out, detonates. Hear this terrible scream, like cats fighting, amplified. Quick count. Nobody missing from the team, run down to the hole, nothing there, no scraps, nothing. For those of you who have never been near a large explosion, there's always something left if a person gets it. Blood, parts, uniform components, something. Roll back tape, audio picks up the screams, nothing on video. Security forces go out, search with dogs, don't find shit. Everyone goes back and gets shit-faced. I was never more glad to leave a base than I was a year later when I permanent change of station to Nellis. Never served in the military, went on a creepy ass hunting trip with a few of them once. 17 years old, my dad, his 2 army friends and my cousin, was on leave, went for a weekend retreat of hunting, fishing and camping. Set up camp in the middle of a clearing, Virginia wilderness if anyone cares. Finish setting up camp, go to the stream and fish and discuss where to go exploring. Dusk approaches, we have this tradition of going for a nightly woods walk and try to scare each other with stories and such. Been doing it since we were kids. Not gonna lie, I was a little anxious but also very serene. If ever go for extended hikes into the wilderness, you know what feeling I'm talking about. One of Dad's friends goes to take a piss, says he'll catch up. We walk for about 10 minutes, then realize we should stop and at least let him catch up. Another 5 minutes goes by, I'm a little worried but my dad is cool, trusts the guy completely and says since he was a paratrooper he knows the woods as good as a house. Few minutes after we comes jogging out of the bushes, .357 revolver in hand. Says he was pissing and got the sense he wasn't alone. After he stopped he waited and sure enough heard something in the leaves around him, circling him. Well, what was it? A bear, mountain lion? Not sure, but if it was the biggest one living in these goddamn hills. Worried it might have followed him, so we head back to camp and don't see or hear anything, but get the "you're in my house now, bitch" vibe all the way back. Next morning we decided to go exploring, with a few guns just in case. See nothing odd, until we get within a 1/2 mile of the trail we walked last night. Didn't want to get too close but we were also curious. Get the same, being watched, feeling again, then after a few minutes find the corpse of some animal. Whatever killed it absolutely fucked it up. Jaw, head was broken, disemboweled, limbs missing and scattered. Keep going north, finding dried blood splatter along the way. Get to the end of the tree line, after a bit of clearing is a cave, with some trees that at first glance appear to have fallen down around it. Friend's dad is like, "Hey Anon, go in it." I'm surrounded by gruff older military guys and being the runt I had to prove myself. Creep towards it. Every step I realize this is probably a mistake but I can't jump out. Get right in front of the cave. The trees in front appear to have been broken down like camouflage because all others around it are fine. Get that natural instinct telling you to just not do something, telling me not to set foot in that cave. Pick up a few rocks, and start pelting them in there. Hear and kind of see something big shuffling around back there. raise my rifle, but I'm convinced if I turn to run it'll bite my ass. Fire a quick round off, followed by the weirdest deep guttural moan roar I've ever heard. I've heard all kinds of animals in the forest and this didn't sound like any of them. If anything, it sounded like a messed up audio recording of a bunch of them and that raptor from Jurassic Park. Anon, back up to us now, look behind and see all of them, rifles raised. Grown ass, military men. Guys who have seen combat and probably killed people are looking pale and scared shitless, which scares the shit out of me. Run back. Feels like I have sand in my legs and I can't move fast enough, like a bad dream. We get in single file line, don't say anything and fast walk back to camp. Each of us had a round in the chamber. Something was definitely following us. When you're that scared, your adrenaline gives you superpowers and you hear, see, smell things like you wouldn't believe. See a big silhouette about 30 yards away, taking big strides alongside and then past us. If I hadn't been looking that way I wouldn't have missed it. Heart skips into my throat. Try to tell my cousin, but he's like, just keep going forward, forget it, in a panicky voice. Start tossing shit into the trucks in no particular order. One of the guys took it upon himself to stand guard and just sort of marches around with a rifle. Get everything accounted for, jump into the cars like clowns at a circus and go down a 30 miles per hour road doing 60. Get to our favorite diner we usually go to at the end of the trips, order lunch and sit silently. I get up to use the bathroom, see my dad and the friend that dared me to go into the cave out by the car. Dad is chewing his ass out for doing that, and then says we don't say shit about this for the rest of the day and especially not to the wives. Drive home, my cousin falls asleep. I pretend to but really listen to the quietal moob about it because of course they're not going to not talk about it. Go around and say they've always heard rumors about stuff like this but thought it was bullshit. Never go back to that spot again, never go camping by myself ever again. Real shame to, because I used to love doing that, but now I'll be damned if I'm not the slightest bit of uneasy going into the woods. The end.
Navy friend. Rover watch in a busted up barracks at a training command. Walk through a hatch to a ladder well right at midnight. Lights dim as we walk further down from third to first deck until it's pitch black. On first deck. This is a pretty creepy JPEG. 3 doors. Fuck my life, keycard won't open any. Door to ladder well is locked. Just radio into the quarter deck. Someone will come get us from the other side. Radio static. Sleep deprived as fuck. Friend asks if I heard a noise. Look out the door glass to the outside. See fat girl and Marine drill sergeant running. Turn to friend. Is that a drill instructor? Turn back to look a second later. No one to be seen. Dude, WTF. Card reader goes nuts and the door to black hallway opens. Power still out, mind you. Bail. Sprint down pitch black hallway with friend. Scratching noises in all locked rooms. Open the door to the quarter deck. Get chewed out by the chief for double timing in uniform. Stops yelling and asks us if we saw a ghost. IDK chief. Chief smiles. You're relieved, go back to your barracks across the street and get some sleep.
Israel Defense Force here. Served for 4.5 years. Golani Battalion. Got some stupid shootout stories, but some extraordinary. Here is my last one. Be in Gaza, last conflict. Be doing usual drills in the type of conflict. Been 2 times in Gaza during major operations, once in late 2008 and last one was this year. The defense force called the Palestinians, who had nothing to do with Hamas, to leave deeper into the major refugee camps. Hamas get pissed. Telling people to stay put or they will be executed. It's a type of Hamas war tactics and propaganda, since they respect death and see life as just a corridor to heaven, and on the other hand presenting pictures of dead babies creates pressure. Some flee. Those who flee are sometimes being captured by Hamas. The father is giving a self-end bomb strapped to him and told to just keep on walking among refugees, women, children, old people, or their family will be shoot. Be guarding roadway for wounded evacuation. Dear Sagaya, don't know how to write it in English, so fuck it. Be seeing crowd of refugees fleeing in our direction. Not good. JPG. Out of nowhere a large explosion in the crowd. Human pieces everywhere. The stupid cunts pushed the button too soon. Can tell more stories if you wish. B in Raihan, Basel, a strong point in Dav, Bear, located near the Lebanese border. This is what we Israelis refer to as Pumpkin Fortress, a type of strong point bunker that is underground due to the damage of mortars used by Hezbollah. The entire thing is sometimes underground and makes you feel really shit sometimes and lose your mind really quickly due to boredom. Be one night guarding as a fresh combat trained soldier looking at darkness for miles. Very green-thumbed. 2 hours in, about 2 a.m. and I get a call on the radio saying to stand sharp because one of the fence's movement detectors is beeping. The unit who's responsible to check in infrared cameras can't see special movement, but the detectors goes crazy every couple of minutes. All the regiment is now up and ready. Time to fight. JPG. Since I was the battalion commander radio boy at that time. Once you finish basic training you get sorted out for special training. I wanted to be a point marksman, but shit happens. I was on a first team to check in the fence as a signaler. We walked in quietly. As I told before, I was in Golani Brigade. The brigade is trained to fight in the north sector of Israel because Hezbollah is mainly fighting in guerrilla warfare, so we knew the code for this kind of situation. We set up an ambush about 300 meters from the fence, staring at it. See nothing in the night vision, yet they tell us the sensor is beeping. Be there until 5:40. Then we saw it. A fucking barn owl. I love those animals so much, yet this one kept the entire northern command on its feet. Pick related. It the uniform tag of the unit who's watching the borders via cameras. This one is more personal to me. B 2.5 years later. B in Central Gaza. B still signaler. Be a radio boy of a Salt of the Earth man. Major Elaraz, my God is a secret in Hebrew. Usual routine of patrolling the strip dividing Gaza from Israel, about 2-kilometer strip of flat land, from our side of the fence. I was meant to be his radio boy that day. Felt sick all morning due to food poisoning. The unit medic tells me to lay down for a while. A guy named Elon is taking my place. About afternoon they were in their usual patrol. A stupid motherfucker takes a Dragunov from a second-story window in the refugee camp. He shots and misses, but bad luck strikes and the ricochet bounces, hitting Elaraz in his He Grande. He was killed instantly. Elon too. I guess I was lucky. Pick related. Elaraz on the left, Elon on the right, R.I.P. brothers.
Be me. Be in basic training. Be on CQ duty. Basically a whole lot of cleaning. Shift is a few hours, there's a TV in the rec room area, get to see Tyson bite off Holyfield's ear. Top Keck. The drill sergeant on duty leaves somewhere after a while. Turns off TV, most of the lights, leaves one on. Me and other private clean the rec room, leave to clean bathrooms in company area. Do that and come out to the company area again. All the lights and TV are blaring loud. WTF. JPG. Turn everything off and go to clean the commander's office. Come back to check on things. TV blaring and all the lights on again. Turn them all off, look around for drill sergeant. Drill sergeant noped. JPG. Spend rest of shift assuming the drill sergeant was fucking with us.
Britbong Air Force here. Current base is a pre-World War II base, bombed heavily by Nazis, lots of deaths, freaky sightings. The building I work in, half is new, half is the original building put up in the 30s. Half of it was hit by a bomb, they simply rebuilt the damaged half. Be sleeping in crew room with Corporal. Sergeant sleeping in his office. 3 a.m. Hear heavy thudding like footsteps outside in the corridor. Me and Corporal lean out with a torch. See SGT poking his head out of his door. He sees us and says, "Ha ha, very funny guys." We reply, "No you, ha ha, very funny." At this point an almost roar-like sound echoes down the corridor and the heavy wooden door separating the two halves of the building slams shut. That door is fucking heavy. Heavy booming footsteps sprinting down the corridor towards us. SGT shouts, "Fuck that," and locks his office door. Me and Corporal fall over each other scrabbling backwards away from the crew room door. Both hide in our sleeping bags like bitches. Never speak of it again to anybody.
Okay, here's one when I was still in Army in Australia. Be infantry on a field expedition on Paktika at 0300 to 0400. Just surveying the tree line. See something moving the short grass. Be confused as I know for a fact there are no enemies around. My old platoon leader was playing enemy and was texting me when they went to bed. Get a sight picture of something. Some really long arms or legs. It was walking on 4 legs. Or arms. Watch it move to a nearby tree. It slowly climbs up this tree but does not climb exactly, just stand up on 2 legs against the tree. It hasn't seen me, I don't think, as it's scanning the area. I don't think it knows what's going on. It goes back to all 4s and starts to scurry toward a section of guys where they are sleeping. I shout the password expecting it to scurry off. It just pops its head up and stares at me. I'm fucking terrified at this point. I wasn't even scared until it noticed me. I let off 3 rounds. It shrieks this terrible noise that wakes people up. I start yelling, "There's something over there," as people run to me to see WTF I'm doing. A few people see it scurry off into the tree line. Our lieutenant gets a section of people with live rounds together to go find it. He calls HQ telling them there's an animal here harassing us. I have to describe it over the radio. I am told it's nothing. Lieutenant is told to stand down. Lieutenant knows I'm not lying, we both deployed to Afghan together. Makes us all pack our shit up and move positions. Didn't sleep much for the rest of that exercise. Got back to base and had to explain to our OC what happened and why I shouldn't be charged for UD. I got off but had to be psych tested even though a few guys saw it. Was pretty bullshit. But I seriously think it was a skinwalker, even though I thought they were made up, but it's the only thing that is sort of close to what it looked like.
I have a mildly interesting ghost story from my time in Iraq if anyone is interested. Was in the United States Marine Corps from 2003 to 2007. I was a communications guy. Yeah. I was a POG, Fight Me FGT. Did 3 deployments to Iraq in 05, 06, and 07. On my second deployment, we were stationed at Al-Assad Air Base about 90 miles away from Baghdad. Anyway, all over the airbase there are these giant bunkers. PIC related. We called them Yugos, because they were built by the Yugoslavians back in the early 80s, 90s. This was a time when we were still friendly with Saddam. Most of the bunkers, about 80%, are abandoned and still filled with pre-war junk. None of them had lighting or plumbing. A few were cleared out though and retrofitted with water and electricity, then converted into makeshift offices because they have tons of different rooms and pathways. Our unit was stationed in one of these bunkers, because they protected all of our valuable and scarce comm equipment from enemy mortar attacks, which were frequent at the time. Anyway, me and a buddy got bored at night, as was common, and we decided to investigate a nearby abandoned bunker. This was strictly against the rules because it was believed they could have been booby-trapped. Also, we had to sneak past the Ugandan guards to get to the bunkers. Ugandans were employed as base security, mostly at checkpoints and stuff, but not for actual combat. So it's pitch black outside, and me and my buddy get a pair of bolt cutters, take the long way around to avoid being spotted, threw a piece of wood over the concertina wire, crawl across, and came upon the entrance. We cut the lock, open the iron doors, and walk inside. We flip on our flashlights, and start exploring. It's mostly chairs, desks, admin shit. We found a couple of empty AK-47 mags, some papers and diagrams and charts in Arabic, etc. etc. We're about halfway through, moving room to room, and I shit you not, we heard a woman's voice say something in Arabic. We stood still for a few moments, looked at each other, and bolted back outside. I don't speak the language, but my friend knows conversational Arabic. He said the voice said, "Who is there? Who are you?" We never went back in because we're huge pussies, but we later learned that several women took their own lives in a bunker on base. Was never confirmed if it was the bunker we were in. Also, the Ugandans would occasionally report blue lights around the bunkers at night. This is unusual because we only used red lights at night so as not to fuck up our night vision. TL. Dr. Ghost Ladies in Iraq.
Story from a friend. Details removed to protect the innocent. Be really far up north in Alaska in the middle of fucking nowhere about 10 years ago. Park truck near an old abandoned beat up plywood shack. There's only some trash in there, like beer bottles and shit. Have a 12-gauge pump shotgun with some deer slugs, for hunting caribou and shit. Already killed one deer and have it in the back of the truck. There's still light out. Decide to explore to see if there is any more game out here before it gets late. Just start walking into an area that was never visited before. Find a lot of trees in this one flat area that look like they were split open vertically and a little bit burnt, charred around where they were split. Most of the trees are normal, but some of them kind of look like they were hit by lightning or something. Walk through this odd forest until there's a small hill. Climb up the hill. Find a piece of copper wiring sticking out of the snow, about halfway up there. Pull it out. It's about 6 feet long, braided, a bit fatter than the kind of cable you use for hooking up car batteries, with red-colored insulation on it. The ends are a bit tarnished with some green copper rust, and they are not cut clean. The ends look like it was ripped or shredded, like someone just yanked extremely hard on it until it broke or something. There's like nothing out here, so it's weird that anyone would have a big-ass piece of electrical cable like this. Get up to the very top of the hill. There's a fairly steep slope going down on the other side about 40 feet down or so. Can see lots of shit for a few miles. Decide to sit down and look through pocket monocular. There's not that many trees, but there's a small stream up ahead that's frozen over. No animals though. There are some dark blue barrels off in the distance, maybe 15 walking minutes ahead. While looking at the barrels, notice some movement to the left. It looks like there's some guy standing there wearing dark clothing, facing away, can't see his face. He's not walking anywhere, or doing anything, he's just kind of idly standing there. He turns to the side and I can see that he's got a big backpack and some kind of rifle with him. I start to wonder just what the fuck he's doing out here, just standing there, because the nearest actual house is like 5 miles away. He turns toward me, and then after about 10 seconds, he grabs his gun off his shoulder and starts running towards me with his gun pointed at me. Nope. Grab my shit and start running back towards where I parked my truck. Nope the fuck down the side of the hill. Keep running through the forest. Starting to get tired now, trying not to get lost. After about 5 minutes of running I look back to see if I'm being followed. See some white lights near a ridge further back east. Keep running and eventually realize that there's a bunch of vehicles way out there driving towards me. Finally get to the shack where the truck is parked. Throw my shit in the passenger seat and start the fucking engine. Nope the fuck out of their back onto the trail. After about 5 minutes of driving, there's a helicopter off in the distance. Helicopter slowly follows for about 30 minutes. It turns back once I get to the highway. And that's his story. Our general opinion is that it was near some military base or something. But it wasn't marked on any map or anything.
2004. Paktika Province, Eastern Afghanistan. My platoon is holding up in an ancient 100-plus-year-old British fort. Looks like a classical castle wall, with turrets in each corner. Have to pull guard in one turret one night. Around 3 a.m., start hearing blood-curdling scream. Initially think it's nearby town, like Taliban delivering night letter and cutting some poor schlub up. Few minutes later I realize a scream is coming from inside the base. Think it could be someone snuck on base. Want to go investigate but can't leave my post. Eventually sergeant on guard comes by. Tells me it was a guy in another guard tower, who happened to be my NCO, had a panic attack of some sort. Next day I find him in the rest area, he's pale white, staring blankly into space, can barely talk. Tries to tell me that he saw a ghost, not just any ghost but a real legit actual ghost, in his guard tower. Former inhabitants of the fort. Think he might be bullshitting or hallucinating, but he's far too mentally disturbed to pull off a stunt like this, and he's definitely not a good enough actor to make it up. Whatever he saw, it scared him into a catatonic state. Gets medevaced back to Organy next day. Never see him again. I don't know what the fuck he saw, but getting the fuck out of that fort was the happiest day of my life.
I come from a big military family. All of them have stories, the kind that keep you up at night and make sure you never sleep right again. But most of those stories are just about the human kind of horror, the terrible shit people do to each other in wartime. The only paranormal story we ever got was out of my grandfather, who served in World War II. Grandpa lost a lot of family and friends during the war due to the Nazi occupation. For him, and for most of the men he served with, it was personal. When my grandmother died, we found all of these boxes and trunks of her belongings in the attic. Cleaning them out, we found all this stuff from the war. Mostly letters my grandfather had written, but there were a lot of grisly trophies in there, too. I shit you not, with one of the letters he sent her, there was a small package containing these uniform pieces with swastikas and ribbons on them. They were soaked in blood. Grandma had kept that bundled up with her love letters and all her most cherished possessions. Let's just say that she had some anger about the occupation as well. There are also a lot of photos my grandfather had taken. Some of them were just guys messing around in uniform. But there were a few of him posing next to dead bodies, grinning. There was also a set of photos of a mass grave and coordinates written on the back. No other explanation. Anyway, here is Grandpa's one spooky story. Was on a base in Scotland for a couple of weeks. Scotland is too spooky, all filled with fog and mist and shit. Be walking along, suddenly I felt something hit my chest and lick my face, like a dog just jumped up on me. Can feel its paws and everything. Stop dead in my tracks, looking around. There is no dog there. Guys from the base say,
"Ah, you've met the ghost."
Fuckin' ghost dog kept following me around. Jumping up on the bed at night, licking my hands.
Makes sense, Anon, the Scots love their dogs.
Not an actual soldier/jarhead story, but more of a boot camp. I enlisted in one of those military camps for young adults where you learn all sorts of stuff, but it's not the actual army. I think it's called boot camp, but I'm not sure. Anyway. Wet behind ears. Have patrol duty with a mate. We get by the lake at around 21 o'clock, it's already dark. To get around the lake it takes 4 minutes at most. Halfway through, enter our team leader. Talk for a couple of minutes. Bye. Get on the other side of the lake, meet team leader again, angry as fuck. We searched for you the whole night. WTF, we just met 20 minutes ago. Check the watch, it's past 4 in the morning. Scared as fuck, try to make him remember, apparently we never met that night. My face when me and my mate get to guard the hole we digged as punishment. I can't actually explain what happened, but stuff like this happened a lot around that place, Google Hoya Forest. Once a guy entered and left 3 days later. He thought he only spent an afternoon there. That forest is freaking haunted.
B. Norwegian Army Conscript October 11th. Cedarmoen, Troms, Kaserne Senja. My turn to be DHD. Barracks Sergeant's bitch. Shutting the doors for the night. Barracks is from the 30s. Rumors of ghosts. Skeptical.jpg. Go upstairs, shutting the empty classrooms. Start from February 3rd S in towards one side. Turning off lights, give shivers all over. Fucking nope it out of there locking after me. Go down and walk down the hallway towards my room. Running and jumping upstairs. What? Go to the other end of the barracks and check the doors there. Locked. Go back to where I was locked. Still locked, open door. Darkest motherfucking room ever. Not gonna go in there. Fuck this. Lock the door, walk away. Still running and jumping sounds inside the room. Decide that I must be imagining things, yet it persists all through the week. Never dare to go into that room alone again. Same poor old conscripted me. Sleeping in a normal room when not DHD, so no problem. Started gaming on my laptop, so I would lie awake at night playing. Noticed the same strange noises from above, accompanied by running in the hallway outside normal bedrooms. One night at a weekend, stay up late playing. Door fucking flies open. Even though the door had a piston. Fucking what? Go into the hallway to see if there is a prank going on. Nope. All empty. Need to know what the fuck this shit is. Start staying awake longer to see if it repeats. It does. In intervals. 01.00002.00003.00004.00. Tell other soldiers about it. They notice, too. One guy in the next room has a nightmare. Proper frozen in bed stuff. Sees a man with a trench coat come into the room and inspect the room. Leaves without opening the door. NATO winter exercise. Squad mates get chosen for injury duty. They get to sleep in the barracks as a way of making up for discomfort. Get back to the barracks. No one around, all out of exercise. Tired as all hell, so go to sleep. About 01:30 they wake up. Screaming and running in the halls. Tables and chairs moving about in the other rooms. Nope.jpg, they don't look. In the morning, they look around. All doors and windows locked. Sergeant was on the floor below. Heard it, but did not care.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more green texts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.
Oh.